I don't know about y'all, but if last night's Chief and Ravens game taught me anything, it's that Micah Parsons is about to freaking eat this season. I'm going to discuss with you why I believe the NFL just gave the Dallas Cowboys a huge advantage, not only this season, but specifically against the Browns. Let's get right into it. As interesting first night of football indeed. All right, first things first. Why am I saying Micah Parsons is about to seriously eat? Why am I saying the NFL gave the Dallas Cowboys a massive advantage? Why am I saying that the entire league should be terrified of what the Dallas Cowboys are about to do now? It's because if you guys were watching that game, then you noticed that something kept happening in the first quarter of that game, specifically against the Baltimore Ravens. And that's the fact that the referees kept calling an extremely rare penalty, or it used to be rare. The referees kept calling a specific penalty over and over and over again. And it was essentially like an illegal formation / illegal proceedings type of penalty, in which it's addressing the advantages that the offensive line tries to create for itself that may not be within the rules. This is going to give pass rushers, any team with a devastating pass rusher, they just got a massive advantage, and the Cowboys just happen to have a top 2, top 3 pass rusher in the entire league, which means we're going to be one of the biggest benefactors from this particular rule. What this rule is the offensive lineman's helmet, the crown of his helmet, has to be in line or in front of the center's waistline, the center's belt line. So when the center is in his position, right, and he's about to snap that ball, every other offensive lineman's helmet essentially has to be symmetrical with his waist. If their helmet is behind him at all, the referees are going to call it. Why is that important? It's important because that is one of the ways that offensive linemen are able to deal with some of the quickest rushers in the league, some of the best pass rushers in the league. One of the ways they're able to deal with that is by giving themselves somewhat of a head start and lining up a little bit off the line of scrimmage already, and the defensive player can't come across. So they're already able to kind of create some separation there and give themselves more time to get their hands on them or to position themselves correct. Whatever they need to do, it's an advantage for the offensive lineman. That is an advantage the NFL made it very clear last night they're trying to eliminate. That is going to lead to more sack numbers. I'm telling you right now, there's going to be more sacks now because of that rule, especially if they start to really look at what the offensive line is doing. And I have a sneaky suspicion that Lane Johnson from the Philadelphia Eagles is one of the reasons that the referees are looking at the O-line as heavily, because he was one of those guys that always skirted the rules as it pertains to what he can and can't do on that line to give himself any type of advantage. And offensive line advantages are dwindling now. So Micah Parsons, that was the first thing I thought about. When I seen him kept throwing that laundry in the air, I was like, oh boy, Micah is about to destroy somebody, because these dudes are not going to be able to deal with that speed coming off that edge. And it's just, I am excited about that Cleveland Browns game, especially since one of their starting tackles, Jedrick Wills, one of their starting tackles, looks like he's not going to be starting for the Browns on Sunday. Now, he may still play in a rotational capacity, but the thing is, we see that the league is now calling this very tightly, and they're trying to kind of eliminate that advantage that the offensive side of the ball has right there. And the Browns are coming in with a leaky left side. Oh, that is a recipe for disaster. The league just absolutely gave the Cowboys a massive advantage over the Cleveland Browns for week 1 by just essentially reinforcing, I guess, one of their points of emphasis in the offseason as it pertains to how they're calling the game. So that to me was very interesting to watch unfold. But either way, as it pertains to the Cowboys versus the Browns, with the new information that we have, with my confidence in what our quarterback and what our offense is going to be looking like, my game predictions go as follow. Dallas Cowboys 27, Cleveland Browns 10. I think that our defense is going to come out swinging. I think that with the way that the game is going to be refereed this season and the way that Mike Zimmer is going to be calling defenses this season, I do not expect to see Cleveland scoring a whole lot. I think that the Cowboys are probably going to come out a little bit slow in that first quarter, but by the time halftime is here, we will see that offense humming and putting up points. I do think our rookies are going to get challenged. However, I will not be surprised at all if Myles Garrett ends up getting to Dak Prescott, or if Tyler Guyton gives up a sack or anything like that, because again, this is one of the more formidable defenses you're going to face with one of the more formidable defensive coordinators who happens to have a ton of respect for one Rain Dakota Prescott.
But what do you see in him?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. All the stats across the board, high completion percentage and yards. He can make something out of nothing when it comes to plays breaking down using his legs. Doesn't run quite as much as he used to, but he's mainly running with a purpose now, buying time to find plays down the field. And then running in high leverage situations, red zone, short yardage, and those kind of things. It's a tough matchup right off the bat. One of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So, we have to play our very best when you're competing against a quarterback like Dak Prescott.
But nonetheless, I think the Cowboys pull this out again, 27-10. I think the game is going to be a fun game for Dallas Cowboys fans to watch for a Week 1 game. And I think that a lot of concerns about the Dallas Cowboys as it pertains to the players that we lost and our key departures and all of that, I think a lot of that stuff is going to be satiated because people are going to realize that this team still has a buttload of talent to go around. Couple of things obviously to keep your eye on is going to be our rushing defense against the Browns' running offense, even though Nick Chubb will not be playing. And the Browns did lose one of their key offensive coaches that really contributed to that run game being what it was. We still have to expect that the Cleveland Browns will be a team that's capable of running the football. So at the very minimum, we should see our rush defense tested a little bit. Maybe not the biggest test of the season, but we are going to get a good first look at what this rush defense will look like against the Cleveland Browns rushing offense. Obviously, we know about the matchups on the offensive line and defensive line for our rookies on the offensive side of the ball. Something else very, very interesting to keep an eye on is the matchup between Kalen Carson and Amari Cooper. If the Cowboys do not put Trevon Diggs over there on Amari Cooper, this is going to be an excellent baptism into the NFL for Kalen Carson, because this is essentially one of the best route running receivers in the entire league. And if you can keep up with Amari, if you can stick with Amari, you can essentially stick with anyone. All right. So I think this is going to be a great first test just across the board for the Cowboys. And I think that for the first week, we're going to come out swinging and we're going to pass all of those tests with flying colors. Let me know your predictions down in the comments below. How do you feel about how the NFL is calling games now? Do you think that this will impact Micah Parsons' effectiveness? We stink. Same old Cowboys.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still the ball? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still them boys.